Hello and good morning. My name is Dr. Wasi and Fazim. I work with Trust Truststator as a business manager. Today I'm going to talk about the concept of wealth and the elements of views of wealth. What do you understand by wealth? Wealth in Islam is a concept that has to do with abundance of valuable resources. Valuable resources such as assets, money, and, and material possessions. It can also be intangibles such as knowledge, such as skills, and human connections. I mean social connections. When we talk about wealth, we talk about things that brings about prosperity, things that brings about fulfillment in our lives. Because we are talking about riches, which brings about happiness into our lives. The other concept about wealth is where we talk about being able to have more than enough and ability to be able to share what we have with others. Because when you have enough, that is when you can think about sharing with others. And that is an important aspect of wealth. Because when you have and you have just for yourself, you may not be wealthy. But when you have that you can share with others, then you talk about abundance wealth. So what are the elements? What are the things that you can have that will say you are wealthy? If you have knowledge, if you have abundance knowledge, we'll say that person is rich in knowledge. That person is highly educated. Then you can share with others. If you have abundance money, abundance material wealth, and you can share that with others, you say that person is wealthy. If you have abundance health that you have enough that you can go up, you can go down, that is also richness in its way. So when we talk about wealth, we talk about things that you have that makes you happy, that makes you fulfilled, and you can pass on to other generations. Now, apart from that, we'll talk about the elements of views of wealth. Views of wealth are the elements that are embedded in the concept of wealth. Islam as a religion has defined and has moderated our lives into ways we can achieve wealth or our dealings with wealth. The first concept about wealth is Islam talks about what is known as wealth generation. Islam has encouraged us to work. In Islam, you have to work in order to generate wealth. So you can work anywhere. You can work as a teacher, you can work as an entrepreneur, you can work as a skilled person, like perhaps a carpenter, a bricklayer, whatever you do that will generate income from is what is known as concept of wealth generation. And when we look at concept of wealth generation, we are talking about things you do. As a Muslim, you must work. Because it is whatever you do, that Allah is going to put His barakah in, that you now become wealthy as a result of doing that. So whatever your profession now, you must be an expert in it in order to get more and get abundance of it. So we talk about the concept of wealth generation. The second aspect, according to Islam, in the teachings of Islam, is what is known as wealth protection. Wealth protection. Islam has told us that apart from generating your wealth, you must make sure that your wealth is not lost because it is valuable to you. You have gone through stress in accumulating it. You have gone through stress in getting them useful in acquiring this wealth. So Islam wants you to protect your wealth, and that is why Islam has brought to you. Islam has taught us the principle of takaful, the principle of insurance, a concept where you make a concept where you make provision for loss, you make provision for risk. You have to do your due diligence in ensuring that your wealth is useful judiciously. You don't put your wealth in things you don't have knowledge about. So the concept of wealth protection is very, very important as an individual. The next concept in the wheels of wealth is what we know as wealth accumulation. Islam understands the fact that there are various opportunities. Nigeria as a country is blessed with various things, various mineral and natural resources. and we have abundance land, we have abundance water resources. All these things can be put to use in order to expand your wealth. As a teacher, there is nothing stopping you from having extra sources of income. There are nothing stopping you from getting more. You should not just be complacent. You should not just be okay with the minimal you make at whatever level that you play as an individual. If you cannot do it yourself, then you put your wealth in income generating assets. And that is where the Trust Actor company comes in. Trust Actor can help you if you cannot do it yourself, or perhaps you are too busy with your mundane activities. Trust Actor helps you to multiply your wealth so that you can keep it for generations. You can have more than your capacity. Perhaps you don't have adequate knowledge about whatever you want to do, but you can second this to another person, and this is where our company comes in place. Trust Actor helps you in multiplying your wealth and in giving your wealth to in giving your wealth in giving your in deploying your wealth to assets that are in assets that are valid, that are more that generates more income for you. They put your money in real estate, they put your money in sukuk, they put your wealth in oil and gas, in different areas, that at the end of the day you get multiplications of whatever you have put in it. That is concept of wealth accumulation. So the next concept on the elements of wealth is wealth. Sorry. Okay. The next concept on the elements of views of wealth is what we know as wealth purification. Wealth purification talks about, in your dealings, everyday dealings, there are ways, in one way or the other, you might have made mistakes. But Allah has employed us to purify our wealth. And the first thing, and the concept has been embedded in what is known as zakat and sadaqah. Zakat and sadaqah are means, according to the Quran, by which we purify our wealth. In these ways, we give to the poor some percentages of our wealth. This, when you go to the affairs, they can tell you, or you log on to the Trust Actor website where you have a zakat calculator. It can help you calculate how much you're due in zakat and how you pay your zakat on an annual basis. So, wealth purification, the concept of zakat purifies your wealth so that what you have would be the halal income that is acceptable to Allah. And the last concept in the rules of wealth is what we know as wealth distribution. Wealth distribution. This is what is known as regenerative wealth. How do you preserve your wealth such that it is not only useful for you alone, but for others after you? How do you pass on your wealth to the coming generation? Or how do you enable your wealth to outlive you? Because as you stay on this earth, you have a minimal time to spend. But whatever you have can outlive you, and it can also be passed on to generations. So in this concept, we talk about wasiya, which is will or passing on to the next generation. We also talk about waqf. Waqf is doing charity that can outlive you. You put your wealth in some foundations or in some trusts that as it grows, as that concept grows, you earn reward for your own contribution in the wealth. Even as you live or beyond you, the wealth continues to generate something and continue to generate reward for you, and your family also benefits from it. That is the concept of waqf that Islam has put in place in order for you to use your wealth. Now, let us have a summary of what we have talked about. We have talked about wealth generation. We have talked about wealth protection. We have talked about wealth accumulation. We have also talked about wealth purification. And finally, we have talked about wealth distribution. And with this, I think we have been able to envelope the whole concept of wealth according to the principles of Islam. Assalamu alaikum. wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.